What if the person closest to you, the one you laughed with, shared secrets with, the one you trusted with your very life, turned into your worst nightmare? Imagine, for a moment, the chilling breeze of a June evening, the quiet rustle of leaves near a creek, and then the unthinkable. A young woman, vibrant and full of life, vanishes. This isn't fiction. This is the story of Aniya Mack, a 24-year-old with a bright future, a passion for helping others, and a smile that could light up a room. But her light was brutally extinguished, leaving behind a trail of shock, grief, and betrayal. We're about to delve into a case that will send shivers down your spine, a twisted tale of love, obsession, and a crime so cold it will leave you questioning everything. But beneath that veneer of tranquility, something horrific is unfolding. A young life, brimming with potential, is about to be snuffed out. A vibrant spirit, full of dreams and aspirations, is on the verge of being silenced forever. This is not a scene from a movie. This is reality. This is the story of Aniya Mack, a 24-year-old woman from Kalamazoo, Michigan, whose life was tragically cut short in a crime that shocked her community and left a family devastated. We're not just talking about a crime here. We're talking about betrayal, obsession, and the darkness that can fester in the human heart. We're talking about a case that will make you question the very nature of trust and the fragility of life itself. Prepare yourself to be gripped, to be moved, and to be disturbed. Because this is True Crime Buff HQ, and we are about to unravel the haunting story of Aniya Mack, a story of love turned lethal and a life stolen too soon. Welcome, crime enthusiasts, to True Crime Buff HQ, the channel that dare to go deep into the most complex and chilling cases. We don't shy away from the darkness. We illuminate it, seeking to understand the why behind the what. If you crave true, suspenseful, and thought-provoking crime narratives, then you've come to the right place. Make sure to subscribe and activate that notification bell. By doing so, you'll join our community of truth seekers and ensure you never miss our latest explorations into the real world of crime. We bring you more than just stories. We offer insights into the human condition, the justice system, and the enduring impact of tragedy. Let's begin by painting a portrait of the woman at the heart of this tragedy, Aniya Mack. Close your eyes again and try to envision her, not as a victim, but as she truly was, a person, a soul, a light. Aniya was born and raised in Muskegon, a city nestled on the shores of Lake Michigan. From her early years, she displayed a spark, an energy that drew people to her. At Muskegon Heights High School, Aniya wasn't just another face in the crowd. She was a force. Academically brilliant, she consistently excelled, graduating as one of the top students in her class. But her talents extended far beyond the classroom. She was a whirlwind of activity, a true polymath in the making. Imagine her in the marching band, not just playing an instrument, but leading as a majorette, her movements precise and captivating. Picture her in student council, voice of her peers, a natural leader. Envision her dedication to the National Honor Society, her commitment to academic excellence. And yet, she still found time for varsity cheerleading, her energy infectious, her spirit unbreakable. Volleyball, softball, she embraced them all with passion and grace. She was even the senior class secretary, organized and responsible, trusted by her classmates and teachers alike. But beyond her impressive list of accomplishments, Aniya possessed something even more remarkable, a heart of gold. Her mother, Loretta Bailey, remembers her with a love that transcends words. Loretta recounts the story of Aniya's surprise birthday visit to Louisiana, a 16-hour drive fueled by pure love and a desire to make her mother happy. She didn't just bring a card or a gift. She brought festival tickets, an experience, a shared joy that mother and daughter would forever hold dear. This act of selfless love speaks volumes about Aniya's character, her innate kindness, her unwavering devotion to family. She got along with everybody. She was like the big light in the room, Loretta Bailey recalls, her voice filled with a mixture of pride and heartache. An angel, she called her daughter, vibrant and loved to help anyone in need. Her younger sister, Ashley Mack, felt the void of Aniya's absence with a particular acuteness. To Ashley, Aniya was more than just a sister. She was a confidant, a role model, a guiding star. "There will never be another her," Ashley lamented, her words echoing the sentiment of everyone who knew Aniya. "She was my baby, my heart. There was nothing she couldn't do." Friends like Dominique Thomas remember Aniya's infectious personality, her ability to make every moment fun and memorable. "She had a passion for people," Dominique shared, his voice tinged with sadness. "She would help anyone she could. She was amazing." Her cousin, Amber Rankin, recalls Aniya's constant smile, her good spirits, her love for dance and song, anything that brought life to people. Aniya's decision to pursue a bachelor's degree in psychology at Western Michigan University was no surprise to those who knew her. It was a natural extension of her compassionate nature, her deep-seated desire to understand and help others. Her new job, working with autistic children in Kalamazoo, was a dream come true, a perfect fit for her skills and her heart. She was on the cusp of a bright future, ready to make a real difference in the world. Now, let's turn our attention to the man who shattered that future, Donovan Terrell Lewis. Unlike Aniya, whose life was an open book of achievements and affections, Donovan remains a more enigmatic figure in the available reports. We know he was 27 years old at the time of the crime, a former Kalamazoo Valley Community College basketball player. Athletic, perhaps, but details about his upbringing, his personality, his inner world are scarcer. What we do know is crucial. He was Aniya's ex-boyfriend. Their relationship had ended, but the emotional ties, it seems, were far from broken, at least for Donovan. The police report hints at a man wrestling with demons, a man consumed by jealousy and rage. Beneath the surface of a former athlete, there lurked a darkness, a possessiveness that would spiral into unimaginable violence. Donovan's insecurities, fueled by suspicions and accusations regarding Aniya's relationship with her pastor, became a toxic brew, a catalyst for tragedy. We see glimpses of a man capable of charm, perhaps, but also a man with a volcanic temper, simmering with unchecked anger and obsessive thoughts. This obsession, this uncontrolled rage, would ultimately seal Aniya's fate and irrevocably destroy his own life as well. June 24th, 2018. Mark that date in your mind. It's a date that began like any other summer day in Kalamazoo, but would end in unspeakable horror. The events of that day, reconstructed from police reports and Donovan Lewis's grim confession, paint a chilling picture of Aniya's final, terrifying hours. The day unfolded with an argument. Not just a disagreement, but a heated confrontation, charged with emotion and fury. The fuel. Donovan's raging suspicions about Aniya's relationship with Reverend Dr. Strick Strickland, pastor of Kalamazoo's Second Baptist Church and a figure who had become the focus of Donovan's obsessive jealousy. Donovan, consumed by paranoia, had violated Aniya's privacy, invading her digital world by going through her phone. There, buried within text messages, he found what he believed to be damning evidence, messages from Pastor Strickland. Dated June 16th, these messages were shockingly inappropriate, filled with sexual innuendo and suggestive language. "I'm trying to give you the best yak of your life, but you running from it," one message chillingly declared. For Donovan, these words were proof, confirmation of his darkest fears, igniting a firestorm of rage within him. Imagine the scene in Aniya's apartment, the air growing thick with tension, the silence punctuated by raised voices, accusations flying like daggers. Donovan, his face contorted with anger, confronts Aniya, demanding answers, demanding truths that were twisted and distorted by his own obsessive mind. Aniya, likely defensive, perhaps scared, trying to reason with a man consumed by unreason. But reason was lost that day, swallowed by the rising tide of Donovan's fury.
And I went through her phone. She tussled with me about her phone. She died on her phone. Kind of got like a fetal position with all her knees in her hands and saw that I was a pastor. I saw what he said. And she kind of just gave up. Gave the phone. And all the time she laughed. Grinning. When she gave the phone, she was grinning and laughing. which, okay, if I do make that accusation, she could have that reaction that she had. Just think about that after you find out it's fucked up.
Upon the arrival of detectives,
The argument escalated. Words turned to shouts, shouts to violence. In a blind rage, Donovan attacked Aniya. His fists rained down on her, blow after blow, targeting her head with brutal force. Aniya, caught completely off guard, was overpowered, defenseless against the onslaught. She crumbled, falling into unconsciousness under the force of Donovan's relentless assault. But even unconsciousness wasn't enough to quell Donovan's rage. In a moment of unspeakable savagery, fueled by a darkness we can only try to comprehend, Donovan seized a knife. The cold steel glinting in the dim light of the apartment, a weapon of finality, a tool of utter destruction. With merciless intent, he slit Aniya's throat. A horrific, irreversible act that silenced her voice, extinguished her light, and ended her life in the most brutal way imaginable. What followed was an act of cold, calculated disposal, chilling in its lack of humanity. Donovan, a former YMCA lifeguard, someone trained in rescue and preservation of life, now turned his skills to deceit and concealment of death. He callously placed Aniya's lifeless body into a suitcase meant for journeys, for adventures, for carrying life's possessions, now became a macabre container for death, for secrets, for guilt. Under the cloak of night, shrouded in shadows, Donovan dragged the suitcase, heavy with its terrible cargo, to Comstock Creek, a place that should have been a sanctuary of nature. For days, Aniya was missing, a void in the lives of her loved ones, a growing panic in the hearts of her family. Her mother, Loretta Bailey, miles away, received a dreaded phone call from family members, the news sending a shiver of premonition down her spine. Aniya hadn't shown up for work. Her phone went unanswered, a silence that screamed of trouble. Loretta's heart must have been crushed by a wave of fear, a mother's instinct screaming that something was terribly, irreparably wrong. In desperation, she called Donovan, Aniya's ex-boyfriend, hoping, praying for any information, any sign of her daughter. But Donovan, the killer himself, coldly claimed he hadn't heard from her, a lie that compounded his already monstrous crime, a web of deceit spun to protect his secret, to delay the inevitable unfolding of the truth. But truth, like water, always finds a way to surface. And in the murky depths of Comstock Creek, the truth of Aniya Mack's fate lay hidden, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to shock a community and demand justice. If you are as gripped and horrified by this unfolding story as we are, take a moment to show your support. Hit that like button if you believe Aniya's story deserves to be heard. Subscribe to True Crime Buff HQ for more in-depth explorations into the darkest corners of human behavior. And if you're brave enough, stick around, because this case is about to take a shocking turn. The investigation is only just beginning, and the revelations that will emerge are even more disturbing than what we've uncovered so far. Stay with us if you dare. The investigation into Aniya Mack's disappearance began as a missing persons case, a frantic search for a young woman who had seemingly vanished without a trace. Police officers were dispatched to Aniya's apartment, a seemingly ordinary dwelling that now held the echoes of a horrific crime. As they began their search, sifting through her belongings, looking for clues, a figure emerged from the shadows, a figure who would dramatically alter the course of the investigation. It was Donovan Lewis. He approached the officers with an almost surreal calmness, a chilling detachment that masked the monster within. In a moment that would later be replayed in investigators' minds again and again, Donovan deliberately placed his hands behind his back, a gesture of surrender, or perhaps a twisted form of relief. Then, he uttered those chilling words, words that cut through the air like a knife. "Just take me in, man. We'll talk about it on the way." The officers, undoubtedly taken aback by this unexpected confession, took Donovan into custody. And then came the unthinkable, the words that confirmed their worst fears. "I killed my girlfriend." In the backseat of the police car, as they drove towards headquarters, Donovan began to unravel. The floodgates of his guilt, or perhaps his twisted sense of justification, opened and the horrific details poured out. He spoke of his rage, his jealousy, his obsession with Aniya's relationship with Pastor Strickland. He painted a picture of betrayal and anger, a narrative that attempted to explain, if not excuse, his barbaric actions. And then, with chilling directness, he led police to Comstock Creek. Guided by Donovan, investigators arrived at the creek, the tranquil setting now a grim backdrop to a scene of unimaginable tragedy. Following Donovan's directions, they ventured into the secluded area he described, and there, partially hidden beneath the murky water and creek debris, they found it, the suitcase. The ordinary piece of luggage, now a tomb, a container of death. With dread in their hearts, they opened it. Inside, bruised, battered, and lifeless, lay the body of Aniya Mack, the vibrant young woman, now reduced to a tragic discovery in a watery grave. The date of this grim discovery, June 28, 2018. A date that fatefully coincided with Loretta Bailey's birthday. A day meant for celebration, for joy, forever tainted, forever shrouded in grief. The day they found her bruised and battered body was my birthday, Loretta wrote in a heartbreaking letter read aloud in court.
She states, "Now, instead of hearing her voice again, I am writing about Donovan Lewis instead of making more plans with my daughter. There will be no more graduation plans, no wedding plans, no grandchildren, no more Christmas celebrations, which she was so mesmerized with every year, sir. I have deep hurt, which is unexplainable. I have been robbed of some of the best days of my life because I am handcuffed to such a horrific crime. I am a Christian, struggling to forgive him, and yet I must, as I think about Donovan, has a family that loves him also. My heart prayerfully goes out to them. Your Honor, I constantly ask God over and over again, why my daughter? Why did she have to cross paths with Donovan? Your Honor, she was a smiling, playful person. She'd never given a thought to doing such a grievous crime to anyone such as this. I am taking medication for my anxieties and depression. I can't come to court because I don't want to relive her murder. At times I cry and wonder, was she calling me during any time of this ordeal? I wonder, as he was beating her, did she know she was going to die? I think of all the terrible things he was doing. I pray that her unconsciousness came quickly before he disposed of her body. I can't come to court because I don't want to carry his face with me all the days of my life. I don't want to remember his facial expressions during the court proceedings. Your Honor, the day they found her bruised and battered body was my birthday. I am not a person who seeks evil for evil. No, sir, but I do want justice. My greatest rewards have come from my pastor and church family, who has been my source of strength and support. I thank you, sir, for allowing me to vent, and please forgive my illustrating my hurts. Sincerely, Loretta Bailey.
I am not a person who seeks evil for evil, but I do want justice. Her words, raw with pain, resonated through the courtroom, a testament to the unimaginable loss and the desperate yearning for accountability. Forensic evidence meticulously gathered from the scene, from the suitcase, from Aniya's body, confirmed Donovan's confession in gruesome detail. The physical evidence aligned with his narrative of violence, leaving no room for doubt about his guilt. The investigation, in a sense, was almost anticlimactic. The perpetrator had not only confessed, but had delivered himself and the victim's body into the hands of justice. But beneath the surface of this seemingly straightforward case lay a tangled web of deceit and accusations. The police report, a massive 79-page document, hinted at a more complex narrative, a story that extended beyond simple jealousy and rage. The report cast a shadow on Reverend Dr. Strickland, and his alleged relationship with Aniya Mack. The investigation, while seemingly closed with Donovan's confession, was about to open up a Pandora's box of controversy and scandal. With Donovan Lewis in custody, the initial shock of Aniya Mack's murder began to morph into a desperate need for answers. Why? What drove this young man to commit such an act of brutality? Investigators delved deeper into Donovan's background, seeking to understand the motivations that fueled his horrific crime. The police report, with its meticulous details and chilling revelations, painted a picture of a man obsessed, consumed by jealousy over Aniya's alleged relationship with Pastor Strickland. Donovan's obsession wasn't just a fleeting suspicion, it was a raging fire that consumed his thoughts, distorted his perceptions, and ultimately drove him to violence. He clung to the text messages he found on Aniya's phone as proof, as justification for his unforgivable actions. In his twisted reality, he was not just a killer, but a wronged man, a victim of betrayal and deceit. Donovan's accusations extended beyond a simple affair. He claimed Aniya was blackmailing Pastor Strickland, using the threat of exposure to extort money for her rent. This added layer of alleged deception and manipulation, in Donovan's mind, further fueled his rage and sense of justification. Was he a man driven mad by jealousy, or was there a more calculated, more sinister element at play? His legal team's initial hint at an insanity defense suggested an attempt to portray him as someone not fully responsible for his actions, someone driven by forces beyond his control. But was it a genuine mental break, or a calculated strategy to lessen his culpability? The courtroom drama unfolded on October 28, 2019, at Donovan Lewis's sentencing hearing. The atmosphere was thick with emotion, with grief, with a palpable sense of anger. Aniya's family, her loved ones, filled the courtroom, their presence a silent, powerful testament to the life that had been so brutally taken. Donovan, facing the judge, offered a carefully worded apology, but his words seemed empty, devoid of genuine remorse. "I know my words will never do justice," he mumbled, his voice lacking conviction. "I pray first thing every day for her family. I want to say I'm sorry." But in the eyes of Aniya's family, and perhaps in the eyes of justice itself, his apology rang hollow, a mere formality, utterly insufficient to atone for the magnitude of his crime. Judge Paul Breedenstein, a figure of solemn authority, delivered a scathing rebuke, his words echoing the collective outrage and grief of the community. "You had a lot of good things that you had developed over your life," the judge stated, his voice firm and unyielding, "and you threw all of that out the window on June 24th. He didn't mince words, didn't sugarcoat the horror of Donovan's actions. "Words won't do justice," he declared, acknowledging the inadequacy of language to capture the depth of the tragedy. Then, addressing the heart of the matter, Judge Breedenstein emphasized Aniya's innocence, her undeserved fate. "Aniya Mack didn't deserve any of this," he stated, his voice filled with empathy and indignation. "She didn't deserve to be hit to begin with. She didn't deserve to be put unconscious. She didn't deserve to be stabbed and murdered, and her body didn't deserve to be treated less than garbage. All of that happened because of you and nobody else." Each word was a hammer blow, striking at the core of Donovan's culpability, stripping away any pretense of justification or excuse. Despite the gravity of the crime, Donovan Lewis, through a plea agreement, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, a charge lesser than the first-degree murder that could have carried a life sentence without parole. He was sentenced to 25 to 40 years in prison, a sentence that, while significant, left many feeling that justice had fallen short. Judge Breedenstein himself acknowledged this disconnect, admitting that several people in and out of the courtroom would likely believe justice was not granted with the sentence I was imposing. The legal system had delivered a punishment, but had it truly delivered justice? For Aniya's family, the answer was undoubtedly no. Aniya's aunt, Lynne Rankin, stepped forward to address the court, her voice trembling with grief and indignation. Her words were a raw, heartbreaking testament to the irreparable loss they had suffered. "Aniya is gone because of this monster," she declared, her voice ringing with righteous anger. "His family can still see him. They can go visit him. We cannot see Aniya. You took something dear from us, and we can never get her back." Her words hung in the air, a powerful indictment of Donovan's actions and a stark reminder of the void he had created in their lives, a void that no sentence, no apology could ever fill. The aftermath of Aniya Mack's murder rippled through Kalamazoo, leaving a community in shock and mourning. The brutality of the crime, the senseless loss of a vibrant young woman, and the disturbing details of jealousy and betrayal all combined to create a tragedy that resonated far beyond Aniya's immediate circle. A community lost a light, and a family was plunged into eternal darkness. Loretta Bailey's heartbreak is palpable, even in the cold print of news reports. Her decision to not face Donovan in court, to shield herself from the sight of her daughter's killer, speaks volumes about the depth of her pain. "I can't come to court because I don't want to carry his face with me all the days of my life," she wrote, her words a poignant testament to the enduring trauma inflicted by Donovan's actions. The image of his face, the memory of the court proceedings, were burdens too heavy for a grieving mother to bear. In Muskegon, Aniya's friends and family gathered, seeking solace in shared grief. Ashley Mack, Dominique Thomas, Amber Rankin, and countless others came together, united in their mourning, trying to navigate the unimaginable reality of Aniya's absence. Dominique Thomas spoke of the pretty bad aftermath, of the collective effort to stay together, keeping each other motivated and occupied. But beneath the surface of their shared support lay an unfillable void, a constant reminder of the vibrant spirit that had been so cruelly extinguished. No amount of togetherness could truly erase the pain, the anger, the profound sense of loss. The case also cast a dark cloud over Second Baptist Church and the NAACP, organizations where Pastor Strickland held prominent positions. The allegations of an improper relationship, the whispers of blackmail, and Pastor Strickland's vehement denials created a storm of controversy and speculation. While Pastor Strickland maintained his innocence, the damage was done. Trust was eroded, reputations tarnished, and a community left to grapple with unsettling questions about faith, power, and morality. The scandal, though secondary to the tragedy of Aniya's murder, added another layer of complexity and disturbance to the already heartbreaking case. In the end, Donovan Lewis faced justice, sentenced to decades in prison for his horrific crime. But for Aniya Mack, there is no sentence long enough, no punishment severe enough to bring her back. Her life, full of promise and potential, was brutally snuffed out, leaving behind a legacy of grief, a community in mourning, and a stark reminder of the darkness that can reside within the human heart. Aniya Mack's story is more than just a true crime narrative. It is a tragic, cautionary tale. A tale of love twisted into obsession, of jealousy erupting into violence, of a life extinguished far too soon. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truths about human nature, the destructive power of unchecked anger, and the enduring consequences of violence. And it compels us to remember Aniya, not as a victim defined by her tragic end, but as the vibrant, compassionate, and light-filled young woman she was, and should always be remembered as. A beacon of hope extinguished too soon, a life stolen by senseless violence. Thank you for confronting this difficult but important story with True Crime Buff HQ. If Aniya Mack's tragedy has resonated with you, please show your support by giving this video a like. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of true crime cases that demand to be heard. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay updated on all our new releases. Next up, we have another suspenseful and thought-provoking true crime story that will leave you speechless. Now, we want to hear from you. In the comments below, share your thoughts on this case. Do you believe justice was truly served for Aniya? What are your reflections on the motivations behind such a brutal crime? Let's start a conversation. This is True Crime Buff HQ, reminding you that behind every true crime story, there are real victims, real families, and real communities impacted by tragedy. These stories are not just for entertainment. They are calls for reflection, for empathy, and for a renewed commitment to justice. Until our next deep dive, stay vigilant, stay informed, and remember Aniya Mack.